All right, so grab some coffee and let's get ready to talk about Angular materials. In this video, I talked about this and touched upon it in the last video. And I said what I'd like to do is introduce you guys to Angular materials because I found them pretty useful in my work, and I think you guys will too. I describe them as the bootstrap of Angular. Of course, you can use Bootstrap in Angular, and maybe I guess I should do a video on that too, how to install Bootstrap in Angular. In the past, I've actually been using Bootstrap in our Angular application. This button right here from our last couple videos is actually a Bootstrap styled button, and today we're going to talk about Angular materials. And if you like this kind of stuff, where as I discover new things in code, of course I'm no expert, I'm always learning, and hopefully so are you, and that's probably why you're watching this. If that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to hit subscribe. You guys have really been showing a lot of support, and I do appreciate it. And so I just realized I have two of these apps open. And what I want to do in this video is I want to use Angular materials. We're going to, one, install Angular materials into our project. We're going to look at the pre-built themes for Angular material, and not really the themes, but the color schemes, I guess, that they give us to choose from. And then lastly, in this video, we're going to use the Angular material button to make this boring button look a little bit better. So let's talk about Angular materials, and let's just go on their website, and let's first of all install Angular materials. And we're just going to use this command right here. You can find it on their getting started. Actually, if I remember, I'll link this particular page down below. But we're going to take this command. I'm going to hit Control-C to exit our running program here, and I'm just going to run ng-add @angular/material. So what this is going to do, it'll install Angular material, and it'll ask us if we want to use a pre-built theme, and here are the different color schemes that each theme comes with. And right off the bat, I'm just going to go with Indigo Pink, and we can switch it in the future, and I'll show you how to do that. And then ask, do you want typography? Let's just hit yes on the next two. So yes for this and yes for animations. I don't know if I'll use these in future videos, but it's better to have them now in case we do. So while that's installing, it looks like it already did, let's go to the top of this and hit the components. And here on Angular materials, or the material.angular website, we can look at all of the different components, and this looks a lot like how Bootstrap's website is set up, where it shows you all the different components you can choose from. Then you can click on one. In our case, we're going to look at the button and see all of the different buttons that we can add to our project or our program. And so let's go ahead and do that. Let's add the button to our project. And so the first thing that we want to do, since we want to use the material buttons, we need to add that to our project for when it's bootstrapped. And we need to define that we're going to use these buttons in the app.module TypeScript file. So to know what we're going to add to that app module, we can actually switch from the overview view to the API. And we can take this import mat button module, and then here's the path to that button. So I'm just going to copy this. You can feel free to type it too, but I'm lazy. And I'm just going to put it at the top of this app module. And then what else we're going to do is import this into the project. So mat button module, I'm just going to put at the end of this imports list. So now it's here, we are able to make our boring old button look a little better with Angular materials. So why don't I serve this up? And while that's serving, we can go to the app component HTML, and here is where we can tell it that we want to use a material button. And if we go back to the overview, and here's all the buttons, we can actually view the code and see what it's doing for each individual button. So the normal buttons, they look like this. They aren't really, and these are called the raised buttons. They aren't raised kind of like you would expect a button to be. They're just kind of hidden in with the background color of the application. It looks like it started a second one, so I'm just going to close one of these. And so we can show both, how to do both. And like I said, you can also view the code to see how it's running this. But let's go ahead and say mat button and just look at that one first. So now you can see it's the basic play sound. And we can also give it a color. So if I choose the primary color, That will use the primary color from our chosen color scheme that we chose when it asked us when installing Angular materials. And if I want to do a raised button instead, I can do matte raised dash button. We'll look at the difference there. And that looks like the normal button that we've all, seen before. It looks a lot like the Bootstrap one. Okay, so let's talk about the predefined color schemes as well. There's another page, and maybe I'll link this one as well. And here are the pre-built themes that you can currently choose from in Angular. There's the deep purple amber, the indigo pink, which is the one we chose. So this right here is indigo, pink, blue, gray, and purple and green. And so with our case, we chose the primary color from this theme, which is indigo. And if we went with accent, it'll give us pink. So let's go ahead and change the color to accent and see that it will turn pink because that is the accent of our indigo pink theme that we chose. Here we go. It's now pink. And if we wanted to do the warning, it'll be red. And it looks like it's red for all of the pre-builds. So it doesn't matter which one you choose. Warn will always be red. So I don't really need to show that. But let's say we want to switch from indigo pink to the deep purple amber pre-built theme. So to do that, I'm going to copy this deep purple-amber.css, and I'm going to go to the Angular JSON file. And if you scroll down some, you'll see styles. And here you can see I have Bootstrap installed and added here when I installed Bootstrap. But at the very first line, we see that the indigo pink CSS from the Angular materials is here. And I'm just going to replace the indigo pink CSS with deep purple amber CSS. And I'll save, but when you notice, it doesn't recompile when you save. It doesn't even notice. So what I have to do is I have to reserve and recompile. So when that recompiles, it is currently the accent color. So we're expecting it to be an amber color. And there you go. It's no longer pink. It's like this yellow, dark yellow, amber color. And then if we look, deep purple is the primary color. So let's go back to the app component HTML, change this to primary. And instead of indigo, like it was before when it was primary, it should now be deep purple. And there you go. So you can play around with these pre-built themes. You can switch between all four and see which one you like. Let me try just real quick the pink, blue, gray. And I'll go back to the Angular JSON and then at the very end, switch it to that CSS. And unfortunately, I have to recompile. So this is kind of weird. Pink, blue, gray, if we navigate, so I got this error and it said an unhandled exception occurred. No such file or directory for this node module, blah, 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 pink, blue, gray.css. So I'm like, how could that be? That was straight from their website. So I went into the node modules, Angular, material, and then pre-built themes. And here we can see pink, blue, gray, but if you notice, they use an E instead of an A, like the site suggested. So the site's wrong. Don't listen to the site in that case, I guess. And let's change that to an E and then try to compile again. That threw me for a loop for a second. I'm like, what? How could that be wrong? Okay, so now we have the primary color of pink, and if I wanted to switch and see the blue-gray accent, let's change that to accent. There you go, there's blue-gray. So, we went over how to install Angular materials. We talked about how to import, in our case, the button material module, and use that in our application. We changed one of our buttons to use the material raised button, and we also used regular button, but I think that one's pretty lame. And we also talked about how to use one of the 4 pre-built themes that they gave us to switch around the colors, and maybe in the future we'll also talk about how to change those theme colors the way we want them. So if we want an exact color scheme like gray and black, I don't know. How do we do that? So stay tuned. I plan on having other Angular material videos coming up about different components, and we'll go explore how to use them and what they do. And yeah, I think that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate you. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you like this. And I hope to see you in the next one.